METS Ignited is the industry growth centre for mining equipment, technology and services. Australia's METS sector is a recognised world leader in innovation and technology, delivering the safety, environmental and productivity outcomes that sustain our global resources sector. The success of Australia's METS companies has created more highly skilled jobs and expanded the local economic contribution of Australia's leading technology sector.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy Harris from Consilium Technology, an artificial intelligence company in South Australia. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you are well, and I would like to thank you for watching my presentation. I'd like to share with you a successful project that we have completed with IGO. IGO is a mining company headquartered in Perth, and they perform a lot of minerals exploration across Western Australia. In this photo, you can see the Albany-Fraser range, which is very flat and has mineralisation under deep cover, making this a real challenge. On the globe, inside the red box, is a dark diagonal patch representing the Albany-Fraser range, which is a 30,000 square kilometre area to the east of Kalgoorlie. In this map, to the bottom left, is the Nova operation. This is IGO's currently operating mine, and IGO are targeting Nova-like nickel, cobalt and copper ore bodies associated with mafic and ultramafic intrusions. And to do this, they're collecting a lot of data. For geophysics, there's ground gravity and airborne magnetic, and we've been provided these measurements as well as the first vertical derivative of each. For geochemistry, they've drilled more than 9,000 holes. There are more than 18,000 geochemical assays, each with more than 56 elements analysed. Elemental ratios and thresholds are used to discriminate felsic from mafic rocks and fertile from barren intrusions. And looking at this map, there is a magnetics background, and each pixel colour represents the mafic prospectivity index. And according to the colour scale there in the legend, pink is very high and green is very low. Here are some photos of geophysical surveys taking place. The Spectrum aircraft there is actually collecting electromagnetics. Unfortunately, we don't have a photo of the one collecting the aeromag, but I'm sure you can picture it. And bottom right are some IGO workers on a quad bike collecting ground gravity measurements. For geochemistry, you can see the drill rig in the left two photos, and the photos on the right show lots of sample being brought to surface, being sorted and subsampled in readiness for laboratory analysis. Closely spaced pattern drilling is very expensive and very time consuming, and there is a better way to do this, and we'll talk about that next. But first I want to talk about Al-chemy. Just like the alchemists of old who attempted to turn base metals into gold, we as a company, an AI company with data scientists, don't want to be asking customers to send us data so that we can play with numbers that we don't understand and hope to find gold nuggets of information and insights in that data. That's just not possible. Instead, we engage very closely with the domain experts, with the customer, to gain a deep understanding of the data, where it comes from, and what the desired outcomes are. So, applying AI with a deep understanding, we follow a process, and I'll talk about the process we followed for this project. Initially, we had a week-long meeting at IGO in their Perth office, and we sat with the senior geophysicist, geochemist and exploration manager and gained a really solid understanding of the data and the desired outcomes. We then returned to Adelaide and performed data pre-processing. So because the geophysics measurements were collected at different spatial resolutions, it was essential to resample them at a common resolution. And we chose a 10-metre grid, which is a very fine resolution. And we applied a minimum curvature algorithm to resample the geophysics to essentially interpolate those measurements to a much higher resolution. For the geochemistry, we basically took the elements and took the mafic prospectivity rules that the geochemist uses and basically determined mafic prospectivity for each drill hole. So we basically labelled each drill hole with a 1 if it was considered mafic or ultramafic, and labelled it with a 0 if it was considered felsic or intermediate. So then, moving on to machine learning now. First we tried unsupervised learning, which basically clusters the geophysics into similar groups, which was quite insightful and interesting, but didn't yield the results that we gained with supervised learning. Now, supervised learning predicts the actual prospectivity at each point for which there's a geophysics result. Supervised learning uses a binary label, in this case the prospectivity labels, for each drill hole, and we trained a model which finds the complex patterns that associates geophysics with the prospectivity. And we tried multiple algorithms and settled on a binary classifier algorithm, and we used several visualizations so that we could gain a good understanding of the input data and also of the model's outputs. We gained regular feedback from IGO throughout this project for geological interpretation to ensure that the work that we were doing in the model outputs remained grounded with the real world. So once we had a trained model, we're able to then feed in the 4 layers of geophysics into the model, and at each 10-metre grid point, it provided a confidence between 0 and 1 of mafic prospectivity. And you can see on that colour scale there, 0 is dark purple and 1 is bright yellow. So 0 representing no confidence of there being mafic rock, and 1 being very high confidence. And you can see on the map excerpt there, this is the part of the map that we could show you. There are some areas lit up which will be of particular interest for future drilling programs. So this AI output is actually, and importantly, an interactive tool that the geologists can use. It's a geo-referenced TIFF file, so each pixel of that map has an associated latitude and longitude location, and it can be opened in any standard GIS software package. And it's certainly an interactive tool in the geologist's hand. So IGO is really trying to fill in the gaps between a more widely spaced drill pattern at the moment, and they're using this map to basically fill in the gaps to find mafic and ultramafic intrusions without having to drill to a 400 by 400 metre tightly spaced drill pattern. This project would not have been possible without the innovation and the tight collaboration that existed between the teams at IGO and at Consilium. And I really want to thank the team at IGO, Paul Polito, Justin Drummond, and Andrew Fitzpatrick for the fantastic engagement that we had. And of course, I want to thank my team, Ben Schultz, who was the data scientist lead on this project, and Liam Mellor and Thomas Beltrame for supporting that greatly. And we're certainly keen to continue our work with IGO to apply the model to the Kimberley next, and also to other exploration areas that they're looking at. And we'd be thrilled to work with other mining companies doing minerals exploration who have a lot of data and just know that they're not getting the most out of that data. That's really where we can come in and really help extract more insights from the data. So I just thank you for your time and encourage you to contact us at consilium.technology/mate, and hope to be in touch with you and work with you soon. Thank you. Bye.
METS Ignited is the industry growth centre for mining equipment, technology and services. Australia's METS sector is a recognised world leader in innovation and technology, delivering the safety, environmental and productivity outcomes that sustain our global resources sector. The success of Australia's METS companies has created more highly skilled jobs and expanded the local economic contribution of Australia's leading technology sector.